Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's resume our complete beginner's guide to Inscryption, picking up where we left off in the first episode. And now we have a choice to either go to the right or the left. Now both of these are the same choice, but then there is a backpack icon and a fire icon. And we know that the fire we've already had that event, which effectively allows us to improve one of our existing cards, and that's powerful. But let's do the backpack just so that we can get some more exposure to different types of events. I like to do this whenever I play a new game, just try everything to figure out what each icon means and what is the best for me, which I prefer, so that on subsequent runs I can make better decisions. Alright, so I'm going to go to the left here. And we get a choice of 3 cards. So we could have the Grizzly. Its form speaks enough of its efficacy, right? So it's a 3 blood cost summon, but it has 4 power and 6 toughness. The Wolf, which we already have a bunch of, but it comes with this and an adder, which we know poisons. So of these, I mean, the Grizzly is pretty impressive. Seems really cool. It is harder to get out. And if you draw this early, it's sad. You basically have to have a squirrel and then, a stoat to get that into like a wolf, maybe. And then what you need is a wolf and another squirrel to get that Grizzly. But we do have our cat. So I'm going to take the Grizzly and just see if we can make use of this. And we'll go up here to the bag. A gust from this may lift your creatures into the air, if only for a turn. So this bag is going to give us consumables. We know we had the squirrel. And we also got a black goat. Its bleeding yields 3 blood if you can ignore the bleeding. I like how they're playing with the words bleeding and bleating. Very fun. Now, what this means is, look at this. If you sacrifice the black goat, it's going to give us 3 blood. So you have to have a blood to put it into play. So you need a squirrel to play the goat, but then we can get the Grizzly out instantly with this. So that's very good. And this is kind of why, if you remember, I was worried about the fact that I had used too many of my consumables. But if you get to this backpack square, or this backpack icon, he's just going to give you, or they're just going to give you items to fill up and choose new ones. So we definitely want this goat. Alright, so now we have a goat, and he's going to say, okay, a rock may get you out of a hard place, and we get to choose one. And we can either have a squirrel in a bottle, the delightful pliers, or a boulder, which is a wall. I don't really want a boulder because I've got my cat, so my board space is kind of at a premium. And I'm not a huge fan of this. I love having a squirrel just to balance things out. And again, we get the same set of choices. So from this, I'll take the squirrel again, even though it's not that much utility. So feeling overburdened enough with the full 3 items you carried on. So we had nothing, but we came back with everything there. Now also we died, so I can't remember if the fact that we died and had to get the candlestick emptied our backpack, or if we had used all of our consumables. But either way, you could see if you go here, you're going to get to choose between 3 for as many times as you need to fill up your 3 items that you can carry. At least that's what happened on that icon. And now we get a new icon, which is like a skull and crossbones with, pickaxes or mining picks, and it looks like a skull wearing a top hat. So what is this? Okay. The trees seemed to close in around you as a chill mist descended. In the distance, you could hear the clinking of metal on stone. A horrible figure stood in your path, and the gamekeeper is putting on a mask. Hee-haw, 'twas the prospector. Okay, so this is basically a boss. And all the bosses in this game, like bosses in many games, have different mechanics that we're going to have to learn. So before I do anything, I'm going to just point out some things. Number one, they have candles just like we do, meaning how many lives we have. And these on the boss usually indicate how many stages there are to the boss. So, you know, there's 5 hit points on one stage, the candle blows out, and then we go to another stage, if we're lucky enough. If we lose, it's over because we only have one candle remaining. Now, what I like to do is push W, and then W again to look at their board. So they're going to be playing a pack mule, which is a 0 power, 5 health creature that will move to the right, or to our right, and then a coyote, and these will come down next turn. We start with a boulder in play. What we want to do on this first phase, and by the way, just full disclosure, it's really hard to do this kind of a guide in the game because I think, like, intentionally, the developer of the game wants you to just go into this without knowing anything and learn through trial and error, and learn through surprise and mystery and just kind of intuiting things and figuring it out for your own self. But for this guide, I am going to explain some things just so that if you're at this boss, you understand the mechanics, without just pretending like I don't know what's going on, because it's awkward to like pretend like I don't have any knowledge and then remember that and be consistent with that kind of approach. What you want to do is you want to get the pack mule killed before you go to the next phase, because those cards will disappear if we do 5 damage to the prospector's face. And if you kill the pack mule, you get a bunch of stuff, and it will help you get more steam, like fill cards up in your hand or get more summonables. So what I'm actually going to do is I can put the grizzly down here, all right? But the problem is it'll do a ton of damage to the prospector, and you need to work on the timing. Like, if I put my grizzly down and then my grizzly attacks and it goes to their turn and then this drops down and then, you know, moves over, then my grizzly won't be able to hit it. So what do I want to do? Squirrel into cat. Can't sacrifice the boulder, it's in the way. Cat into black goat, into grizzly. Okay, so I'm going to put down the squirrel here, and I'm going to... I don't need to play the cat, but I like having it there. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to play this for the cat here, and then I'm going to play the grizzly for this and put it here. And now I'm done. So I'm going to ring the bell. Oh my goodness. I hope you didn't think it would be that easy. What did I do? What I just did was made a categorical mistake. I killed him in one turn because the grizzly did 4 damage, which I wasn't afraid of, but I forgot. I believe my cat did some damage. I forgot that I had powered up the cat to do damage. So the cat normally is 0, which is what I was thinking, but I forgot we had boosted it, so it did 1 damage, so we actually leave the stage. So what this is going to be kind of doing is, through my own play of, forgetting that the cat does damage, you're going to see what happens if you pass the first phase without killing the pack mule. So he says, I hope you don't think it would be that easy. Okay, there's gold in them cards. We reset. Now watch this. He's going to use his special power, and he's going to just turn all of our cards into gold nuggets. Gold, I've struck gold, he says. His cards go away. And then our cards have been replaced with gold nuggets, and all we have left is a red snapper. So, also, on his board, he has a bloodhound, and this says it has the guardian trait, which means when an opposing creature is placed opposite to an empty space, a card bearing this sigil will move to that empty space. So this is like, it has not taunt necessarily, but like if I was here with a creature and I was going to hit his face, the bloodhound would move over to block. So we can't play this unless we can't do a lot. And this is why you have to learn these things. And you know what? Like, I'm upset with myself for making a foolish mistake with the cat, but at the same time, what this does is allows us to see how this fight played out the first time I did it, when you don't know what happens when he changes phases. So when he changes phases, when you take out, you see the candle got blown out right here. He's going to take all of your cards that are existing and turn them into gold nuggets, which means you lose all the cards and they block you from playing. You cannot sacrifice the gold nugget. It's just like this wall that sits there, and you have to wait for it to get killed so you can have space. So it's really annoying, and it teaches you a lot of the bosses in this game work that way, which is you don't want to move on to the next phase until you're ready if you can help it. So I'm going to actually not draw a squirrel because I've got squirrels over there, and I'm going to draw from my main deck, and we draw our flying powerful wolf. That's interesting, but we still can't play it because we don't have enough room. So we have to pass the turn. Now his bloodhound's going to come down and kill our gold, which is good. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw a squirrel now. I'm going to play a squirrel on the empty square, and you see the bloodhound moves over, okay? And then I'm going to get a squirrel from my consumables, and I'll play it here. And the bloodhound moves over with the guardian trait. And I'm going to play my wolf. And I'm going to sacrifice both squirrels, and I'm going to put it right in front of the bloodhound, because my wolf is going to fly over and deal face damage. But unfortunately, what this means is the bloodhound will kill our wolf on its turn. So there's a question of, like, whether or not we should do that. However, even if we put the wolf on this square because it's flying, the bloodhound would just move over to intercept it. So we can't really get around it. So we'll do some damage. And there we go. Alright, now what do we want to do? What we could do is play our river snapper and kill its bloodhound by drawing a squirrel, playing a squirrel, and then using our final squirrel right here, and then kill these two squirrels, and I'll put the river snapper over here, but the bloodhound will move back, and then we will end the turn. Now the adder is going to kill the gold nugget and eventually kill us, but we do have a big cushion. Alright, so now it's time for us to either draw a squirrel or draw from our main deck, and we need to draw from our main deck, and we get a wolf, and this is a regular wolf. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to sack my river snapper for 2 blood. Oh, no, I can't, because it only gives 1 blood. Even though it costs 2 blood, it only gives 1. So we'll draw a squirrel next turn and sack this. But we'll take 1 damage and hit the hound. Alright, but now it's getting dangerous because they've played over here a wolf cub, which will come down and eventually transform and kill that nugget, so we need to go real fast. So let's do exactly that. I'm going to play a squirrel right here. And I'm going to sack these for a wolf, put it here. This will move, but we'll kill it. Alright, so we're going to kill its hound. It only does 1, we take 1. And then we're going to draw. He's doing the prospector again. Easy boss. The mule's key. So actually, the stoat kind of helps you right there. Tells you what you need to know. And we need to get ready to win. We can't play the stoat, but we can hit for 3. And we're 1 away. Now we're going to take 1. And actually, we win right here. So what? Because we only need to do 2 damage and the wolf will do 3. I'm going to draw a squirrel. I can put it, right there. And then I can play the stoat and sack the squirrel and put it over here. This spot, you sure? Yes, I'm sure. And let's do this. And we hit it, and we got a little bit of overkill. And poof. Prospector down. Allow me to light your candles once more. I won't be killing you quite yet. So when you beat the boss, you get the candles to be refilled. And you're the first in a while to overcome a boss. As a reward, you are granted an opportunity to select a rare card. Choose carefully. Awesome. So once we beat the prospector, and by the way, let me just say, that was, I made a mistake and cleared the first part of that fight too quickly, but we were able to overcome it because of the backpack giving me all of those squirrels and consumables, and our deck drew pretty well right there. So we won on the first try, but I did not win when I was doing my Let's Play on the first try, because it takes a few times of just brute force and learning the hard way about the prospector's mechanics. So don't be discouraged if you don't beat that the first time. You just keep going back and trying it again and again. It's perfectly normal. And then when you do win, you get to choose a rare card, and you get to look at them first. This level of brutish strength needs no explanation. So this is a 7 power, 7 defense, but it costs 4 blood. This is a Gek, the uninspiring Get. Perhaps you can find a use for it. So right now, this isn't great, but notice how it costs no blood to play. So, like, you could play this thing and have a 1/1 for free. And then Child 13, poor abandoned child. It does not die when sacrificed, but do you have the heart to try? So, very similar, okay? This says many lives, like our cat. This is similar to our cat, but we already have a cat. And the problem with these kind of cards is that they can take up space on your board and be very hard to get rid of. So honestly, these aren't super great. Like, I'm not thrilled about these. You will see in the upper left corner, there's a tribal indication for some of these. Like, there's this kind of stag with antlers, and there's a kind of like, dragon or lizard head over here. So just pay attention to that. What do we want from this pile? This is powerful, but getting to be able to sacrifice 4, I mean, we'd have to have a grizzly and a squirrel. It seems like a lot. It's a tall ask, or 2 wolves or something like that. It's very hard. Child 13, we already have the cat. I guess we have the cat and our grizzly, maybe to get this if we want. The Gek is like a squirrel that you get from your main deck, but it can be disappointing unless you can power it up, because even though it is free for a 1/1, which is kind of okay, if you're looking to draw some gas from your main deck, and you choose not to draw a squirrel, and you get this, it doesn't put you in the best position. Unless you can make it more powerful. So for me, I'm moving away from this, Although, of course, you can exploit this card just like you exploit the cat, because it can keep getting sacrificed. We could have a big ramp structure where we have the cat and we have this, and then we have like 2 blood every single turn, and then we could try to get something like this out. But then you have a squirrel, then that's 3 blood, and it's not enough to even play this guy. So you have to think about that. You have to sack these two, get a wolf on board. Then next turn you could sack child, the cat, and then a wolf, and then get this thing, maybe. But you can exploit this by using power-ups and taking advantage of the fact that it just can't die. So that's useful. I'm going to try this just to have a big, huge finisher and see how that goes. All right. With the sound of the prospector's pickaxe still ringing in your ears, you carried onward. So once you finish the first level, the rank smell of rot and mold permeated the humid air. Every step forward was answered by some nearby slip or slither. You tread cautiously into the wetlands. So we're in the next biome, or the next level, which is this swampy area. Now, it can be important at this point to just push S, and notice that you can push S to kind of step away from the table. You can step away from the table and look around and see if there's anything you can do in this room. I can't do anything there yet. Do I know anything? No, there's a light, there's a torch, there's a hammer. Here's a clock. You can interact with this clock. You can move these dials, but we don't know what to do with it yet. There's a squirrel in a cage. We can't pick this up yet. And here, we don't have the key yet. So even though we can stand up, we can't quite do anything. But it is interesting to look around and see. And I recommend you do that from time to time. All right, now we have a choice between choosing one of 3 cards or doing something with blood. So let's see what this is, because, well, boy, what do we want? Do we want consumables? Do we want to power up a card? I think for the sake of science, we'll explore and just uncover some new icons. You must make a different kind of choice now. Choose not a specific beast, but decide the cost that you wish to pay. So you could see, like, do you want 1, 2, or 3 cost? So, I'm going to pick, remember, we have that big, massive card that costs 4. So I think a 2 will help us get to that easier. So we'll pick 2, and we get a random card with a cost of 2. So we got a free River Snapper, which, not great, but that's what that icon does. It lets you choose a card based on cost, and that could actually be very useful if you're looking to smooth out your curve. Curve is an expression that we use in CCGs to kind of talk about energy, efficiency, and timing. So, you can play 0 or 1 cost stuff easily at the beginning, and you try to curve up by playing increasingly more expensive stuff as your access to resources increase. I'll go over here. Okay. It's a sacrifice table. So, what card do we want to get rid of? Unfortunately, if you look at this, very few of our cards actually even have abilities besides the cat. The stoat's like, I'll go. So we could, what do we want to sacrifice? The cat's the only one we can sacrifice. And it would give many lives to another creature, right? So we put it here, and what do we want to power up? The Stoat? Stoat wants to get powered up. God, we have so many river snappers. It's brutal. I think an unending Stoat is fine. I thought about putting on a 2-cost card, but let's go with it. Let's give it to the Stoat. It's just a better cat. What an honor. Alright. Not great, though. Really not great. There's a way out for both of us. It's somewhere in this foul cabin. Be silent, or I will tear you to shreds. ... He's like, okay, fine. Now, what he means to say is he's giving us a clue to check out the cabin. I love how, by the way, when they get powered up, their eyes glow on the card. It's a cool little effect. Alright, so what does he have out here? He has a beehive, which says, once a card bearing the sigil is struck, a bee is created in your hand. A bee is a 1/1 airborne. Alright, so we don't want to hit that. It doesn't hurt us. The Kingfisher is waterborne and flying, so we can't hit it, basically, and it will just fly over us, and they have 2 of those. So it's pretty annoying, but the Grand Fir will block this Kingfisher forever because it has Mighty Leap. It's just such a tall tree that you can't fly over it. So what do we want? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to summon the squirrel here. And then I'm going to summon the Stoat here. Okay. And we'll just draw a squirrel next turn, I guess. Alright, we're even. And I'm going to draw a squirrel. And we're going to lean into the fact that there's nothing in that lane. And we have the Stoat out. So we'll just go ahead and play the wolf, kill the Stoat and the squirrel right here. And let's ring the bell. 4 damage. Alright, so they do have a river otter coming up, but it won't be enough to save them, basically. So I can summon... I'm going to draw a squirrel, but I'm not going to play anything. I could put down a squirrel, and then sack the squirrel and the cat, or the Stoat, rather, to play the river snapper, but I'd be putting it opposing the beehive. And I don't want to hit the beehive and give him any cards. So let's just leave this as is, and we'll win. And we've got a bunch of extra teeth. How brutal of you. You dealt me more damage than you needed to win. However, in my game, such feats are rewarded. To be precise, a tooth to keep for each extra damage dealt. So this is the bowl full of teeth. The trapper may be interested in your spoils. So if we find a trapper, we can trade in the teeth. Alright, now where do we want to go? I think looking at these options, I have to go here. And then I could fight like an elite kind of monster. Well, yeah, I mean just somebody with a totem, I guess. But we don't want to do this. We do not want to find the altar again because we really don't have that much that we want to sacrifice ability-wise. So let's instead... I think the fire looks good. Let's go here. A Warren. The Bountiful Warren. It spawns a rabbit when it's played. So what's the rabbit? When a card bearing this is played, a rabbit is created in your hand, and it's 0 power, 1 health. So it gives you a ramp, basically. A bullfrog. I'm going to try this Warren. It doesn't do damage, but it will help us maybe get out our 4-cost card more easily because it provides you with a lot of energy. Now, we could take the backpack and go this way, but I like the idea of going to the fire and powering something up. And you know what I'm going to power up. Or at least I know what I'm going to power up. So it's +1 power. They will enhance its power. Alright, so we click here, and I think we do it to the Stoat, because the Stoat is undying, and it just gives us, like, you know, a powerful card. We could put it on the Warren, but I love the idea of this undying 2-3 stoat, the power of the stoat was enhanced. As one of the survivors began pulling a knife from your pocket, you withdrew. Let's get out of here. Let's run away. All right. And we'll go here. And we have a regular fight versus what? A coyote and 2 kingfishers. All right. Great. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the Warren. Oh, right. The Warren costs something. Let's do this. And then let's play the Warren here. And we got a rabbit, which is a free sacrifice. And then we're going to lose 1, 2 to go here. Oh, fiddle-dee-dee. That was so silly. That was such a bad play. I always think that I'm going to be able to hit with counterattack in this game. You're going to see. Our wolf is going to die to the coyote. So, I'm so used to Magic the Gathering. Right. So, what happened is the coyote was able to just hit us. I was thinking I'd either be able to kill their coyote, but yeah, that's the downside of the wolf is that it just has such bad... We'll draw. The wolf has such terrible toughness. So we're really far behind right now, but we can do this. We'll play the squirrel, and we'll put it here, and then we'll sack this. What do you have coming in? The river otter? That's fine. We'll sack this squirrel, and we can drop in our stoat. Where do we want to put it? This is fine. Total misplay. Sure. And end the turn. Ah! We've lost. We lose a candle. How disappointing. So, what's interesting is, like, basically what happens is we lose a candle, but we don't lose outright, and we just lose the opportunity to get something. So what happened there was my extreme misplay. If I would have just put that wolf somewhere where it didn't die, we would have been able to be in that fight. But I put it on the wrong square. And I think that what that articulates is, number one, obviously I still have a lot to learn about the game, but it's a mistake that I commonly make because I'm so used to other card games. And in other card games, the sequencing is different, and there is retaliation. So, you just have to beat that out of your head if you're used to playing a game where you have a retal on defense. And the idea that cards that are in the incoming field will not block. And so sometimes I'll see those and think like, oh, well, they'll block, I'll kill it, and then remove this creature. But you don't get to interact with those cards up there on your terms. It's like they drop down and immediately do their thing. So you have to kind of plan around both the sequencing of when you get to interact with the incoming cards and the fact that cards that are blocking do not do retaliation damage unless they have a particular trait. So that cost us a candle. Let's go here. You were stopped along the way by a trapper looking to liquidate his pelts. There was something uncanny about his appearance, but you were quickly distracted by his wares. Care to look at my pelts? Yeah, he has a strange face, but we can buy stuff. So take a pelt free of charge. So he's going to give us this pelt for free. See the quality? So you can get this pelt. I actually don't really want it. But pelts are interesting, and you don't know what they're good for initially, right? Now, we can buy the golden pelt, and I will. So I'm going to buy a golden pelt because I have enough to buy it. And you're leaving already? We'll just leave. Please consider my pelts. We'll take it. Thanks for your business. The man assured you of the value of the pelts. They appear to be useless in a fight, but he mentioned that the trader further down the path would reward you for them. So, pelts are an interesting thing because if I push up and I look at my deck, you can see that now I have this rabbit pelt and this golden pelt. They have value later, but the reason I didn't want to buy any more, and the reason why you want to buy the golden pelt, if you can, is because it saves opportunity cost in your deck. Like, if I had 5 rabbit pelts, I'd be drawing these things, and they're useless. They're terrible. You don't want them. You want to trade them in later, but they don't do anything for you except block, basically. You can't sacrifice them for blood. So, they're bad cards to get. I actually want to go this way. I want consumables, and I want a card rather than buy blood, so I'm going to go to the right. If you deem it necessary, you may cut up one of your cards with these. So if you have a card that you don't like, you can get rid of it forever with this. I'm going to take the fan, give airborne. I'll take pliers, fine. And there we go, something good, the black goat. Alright, and let's go into this next fight. And boom. So this fight is... It feels like an elite fight. It's me. But all of their cards are going to have flying. It says... oh, never mind. They'll have Mighty Leap. Which means they can block flyers. Which is actually okay. Alright. But not all of their cards. Only all of their cards of this tribal totem. So it has to be a bird card. Gets Mighty Leap. So, like, the Kingfisher in the upper left, like I was saying, this little icon where you see, like, the dog head or the beast head, and then the bird head. If it's of the tribal affiliation bird, it gets this totem power. Alright. So what do we have here? We have a fight we can easily win by playing the black goat if we choose. I'm going to play a squirrel. And we're going to sack the squirrel for a stoat. Our stoat has 3 health, so it can actually block this coyote and then kill it, which I like very much. So I will just play this here. And then... I could... get the black goat, sack the stoat, and put the grizzly down. But let's see if we can stay in this fight without that. I'd like to keep my goat. That's going to be a tough fight. Alright, so we're going to be taking 2 damage. It's even. And they have a sparrow coming in. Alright. So we're going to draw from our main deck. And we got a wolf. Good. So, let's see. My stoat will kill the coyote, and then we take 1, 2, 3 damage, and we will go here, and then can we recover from that? If we draw a squirrel next turn, play the wolf, we'd have to put it over here, and then we could hit it for 3, and I think we can stay alive? But there's no reason to risk it. Sometimes if, like, the way I'm seeing it is, we take 3, we go to 3, then we play the wolf, and we put it here. We would do 3, and then they would do 3, and we'd be at a stalemate. But we will kill their coyote, and we would actually do 5 next turn and be able to win. Let's risk it for the biscuit. It's so nice to have the black goat in our back pocket. So I'm going to actually... not use it. Alright, so they have an otter coming up. That does change the calculus, though. Because the otter... we will do 2 damage this turn, but the otter will kill our stoat. So we have to think about that. If I put down the wolf to kill their sparrow, it's a nice play for clearing the board, but we will do no damage to them, and that means that we will lose. The golden pelt, like, I could play this, but it won't block because these are flying things. Well, we won't die, though. If I put the wolf here to kill the sparrow, we will do 2 damage with the stoat. And so we will go to -1. Then they will do 2 to us and nearly kill us, but we'll have a wolf on the board and no sparrow. But then we'll be at a position where the stoat will die from combat. And, you know, we could draw a squirrel, and then sack and play the grizzly, I guess. Yeah, okay, let's just keep trying to be greedy. All right. Oof. Okay. Well, it kind of changes things that they put the coyote there. We have 3 incoming. But what we do is we just play this. Put down the squirrel. And, oh, that's right. Okay, I'm going to have to use it. I keep forgetting. I keep thinking that 2 blood means you get 2 from it, but you don't. So, in this case, we have to play the black goat, because if I don't, then this thing is just going to kill my wolf and my board will be destroyed. So we got to do it. It does let us keep the wolf, though. Okay. Ooh, almost there. And we win with our grizzly. Draw. Big boy. Got there. Ooh, that was close. I didn't want to use my consumable. I held off until the very end, but I had to. All right. And there's a backpack here anyway, so we'll get the consumable back, I suppose. A mole. It burrows and emerges to block any landborne attacker. Or a snapper and a bullfrog. I actually like bullfrogs a good deal because they block flyers. Alright. And we can go here. Well, you know what we want. It's the goat again. And what is this? My God, it's a new boss. A foul smell invaded your nostrils and caused your throat to seize. A hulking man sat by a brackish pond with his feet submerged in the dark water. He pulled a hook from a pile of rotting fish and rose to his feet. I am the angler. Go fish. Alright, so we gotta fight a fishing person. Okay, so similar to the last boss, he's got phases. You can see the candles, and we can expect that his mechanics are going to change dramatically based on the phase. So let's save our good stuff for the second phase. So we got this rabbit pelt, which I don't want, but I want to get it out of my hand. And let's see, they've got a kingfisher. My bullfrog can block the kingfisher, but can't kill the kingfisher because of the way that the kingfisher hides. So I don't like putting things opposing that necessarily. So I'm just going to kind of put this bullfrog right here, and we'll have a back and forth. 1 and 1. Which fish? Hard choose. Alright, so he's put a hook down on my pelt, which I'm okay with. Alright. I'm actually going to draw. There's the grizzly. And I could immediately sack the bullfrog, get the goat, and play the grizzly, but I don't want to do that just yet. Let's see what this fishing does. Mine. Now go fish. Now what's interesting is, what we did right there is exploit his power. So he took the card, right? But let's look at the game board. He took a rabbit pelt, and what this does is if the enemy has cards in their upcoming, if there's a card in front, it can't play. So now the kingfisher won't even be attacking us. This is actually tremendously good for us, because as long as we don't kill this pelt, this will stay there forever. So that's a huge victory, in my opinion, for us. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a squirrel. Now I could play the squirrel and put down the river snapper. I'm just going to pass. Stale fish, hard chew. So he wants to take our bullfrog, which is interesting, but what I'm going to do is just draw. Lucky draw. It was a lucky draw. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to play the squirrel. Fresher fish. Easy choose. So now he wants to take that. And I'm going to say, well, wait a minute. What happens if I instead play my stoat by sacrificing this squirrel? New fish, easy choose. So you can see he's actually changing what he wants to take. So that's not ideal for us. But instead, what I'm going to do is just say, okay, 1, 2, and put down the snapper. And he wants to take the snapper now. And I'm actually okay with him having the snapper versus the stoat. And I'm going to ding, because he'll pull up the snapper and it will block, take fish, go fish. All right, my turn. So at this point, we're even, and I'll take 2 and do 2. But the fishing mechanic is going to get me unless I start doing damage. Alright, we got another snapper. So I'm actually going to take my goat and sack this and play it. And then I'm going to play the grizzly like this here. And just pass the end of phase. All the cards too fast, too soon. Okay, so you saw what just happened there? You see how the game kind of skipped? We're being cheated. Look what they've got. A full board of grizzlies. So there's really no way that we can actually do anything right here. Because you can't just beat this game on the first try. It's part of the process to lose. So we'll play this. It's part of the storytelling. And poof. We somehow did survive that first round. That's kind of fun. Play this. Yeah, put down the golden pelt and block. Alright, here we go. Did I neglect to mention overkill damage? Excess damage is not wasted. It carries over to the card behind the mangled corpse of the victim. So this is really good information. We actually do some more damage to the grizzly behind it. Lucky for us, but not really. Because now we lose. Poof. Huh. Go fish. And he's coming for us. So what happens when you die? You wake up. You aren't dead yet. This isn't purgatory. Though you may think of it that way. Before you expire, I must ask you a favor. I would like a memento. Your very own death card. It's quite plain at the moment, isn't it? We'll work together to amend that. I want this to be the perfect memento of you. Here are some cards from your mediocre deck. We can put them to good use. Please choose a card to draw its cost from. So, you want to use, you get to make a special card right here. And you want to choose something that's low cost, like the golden pelt. It's free, a cost of free. And then now it says, choose the power and health. Okay, we want to be a grizzly. 4 power and 6 health from the grizzly. And now choose a card to extract the sigils. So do we want to be flying? Do we want to be able to block flyers? Or do we want to make a rabbit? Honestly, the rabbit is pretty good for ramping. Flying is good for just killing things. I'm going to actually take the Warren just for some ramp. So we will get a free rabbit every time we play this card. Now, and I never did ask your name, so you could type in your name, Dr. Incom. There is but one final matter, the portrait. And he comes in, he takes our picture. Are you ready? You do not need to smile. Ow. That hurt my eyes. Here we go again. Another challenger. Perhaps it is time. Perhaps you can understand bones. So now we learned about bones. A resourceful possum costs 2 bones. So you could see in the upper right, there's its cost. You gain a bone when one of your creatures perishes for any reason. So that means sacrifice or dies in combat. And look at our deck. No, we can't look at it right now. Okay, anyway. We have an opossum, we have a stoat, and we have a wolf, and we have a squirrel. So now we've got bones to work with. And we died on the second boss, the angler, but through no fault of our own. That was a game-intended kill so that more content could be unlocked, more of the story could be revealed. Everyone, this is a good place to end this episode, and before we start our next run, I hope you're still finding this to be useful. Remember, I am not a great player at this game, but I was able to clear it, this first portion of the game. I'm not going to spoil too much, but I was able to beat all these bosses. And even though I get things wrong, I make mistakes, you can still do this if you understand the basics and the fundamentals and learn from what I did wrong, and take my advice to try to put together a deck that works for you and enjoy this game by winning and not being completely mystified as to why you took damage or why you lost. If you have any questions, please put those in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more and more progress in this series, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.